You're sweet.
And now Alexis is favorite line, I'll tell y'all again. She says, my mom stole my best friend, and my best friend stole my mom. I talk to Jessie at least once a week on the phone, and we message each other because she's helping me start my business. So this is Jessie. I just love her,
so sweet.
And she's going to bring us what God gave her.
Can I say here?
Absolutely.
I am recording for my mama, so that's why I have my mic on, because she couldn't be here. So I have never, Miss Andy asked me to do this in February, and I have never, other than like testifying in church or teaching little kids, I've never stood in front of people to talk. But the Lord had a different plan, and it's kind of funny. I mean, has the Lord ever worked something out in your life, and you're like, man, it's funny how the Lord works? Like, has that ever happened to you? So she asked me to do this. I think it was February. Do you remember? And I was like, well, I guess I've never done anything like that before. And then in March, we went to Kansas for my business, and I spoke in front of hundreds of people, and I had no idea I was even going to do it. And it was like the Lord was getting me ready for this because I'd never done anything like that before. And I just think we often think it's funny how the Lord works, but in reality, he knew the whole time. He always knows what is going to happen. And I didn't even know I was going to Kansas to do that. I thought I was going to sit in a chair, and I taught and went to Kansas twice to teach. But the Lord knew, so then I wouldn't be as nervous up here. But I just say all that to say I'm not a public speaker. I'm just a friend that stole her friend's mom to come here. I'm just kidding. And we're just going to, the Lord has thoroughly encouraged me with something, and I want to share that with you. How many married ladies do we have? I asked her about married ladies. So the majority of us are married and have a husband. So I kind of started something, and then the Lord went over here, and then he went back over here. Have you guys ever done that? All the time. I had a teacher tell me one time to teach or to study every day as if you had to teach. And it's really true. When you have to present something to show somebody else, it grows you. So I just pray that the Lord is glorified today and that you guys get something out of what I studied, because it touched my heart. Alexis and I have been talking about it for weeks. Have you seen that book, Let Them? Have you seen that book, Let Them? Is that what it's called? There's a book out. It's a big thing on the internet, how you let them talk about you, let them do whatever. You're still going to live your life. And the Lord spoke to me about my husband, and I started a lesson on I get to. Because the Lord gave me my husband, and he gave me my child, and he gave me that life. But I often fuss about the laundry or the dishes. You guys ever do that? Do you ever walk in and be like, why can't you see this pile of dishes laying on the kitchen? Didn't you see anything of them? But I get to do that. The Lord blessed me with that. I get to. So as I studied and started that, we went to another ladies' conference, and the Lord spoke to me there about being agreeable. Because sometimes I'm not very agreeable. So we'll read. I just want you to open your mind. We'll read this and then pray, and then I'm not going to take very long, okay? So I'll read this. We're doing Psalm 101 if you have your Bible. I will sing of mercy and judgment. Unto thee, O Lord, will I sing. And our verse is going to be on verse 2. I will behave myself wisely in a perfect way. Oh, when wilt that come unto me? I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave to me. A forward heart shall depart from me. I will not know a wicked person. Whoso privately slandereth his neighbor, him will I cut off. Him that hath an high look and a proud heart will not I suffer. Mine eye shall be upon the faithful of the land, they that may dwell with me. He that walketh in a perfect way, he shall serve me. He that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. I will early destroy all the wicked of the land, that I may cut off all the wicked doers from the city of the Lord. Okay, let's pray. Dear Jesus, thank you for the sweet Bible that we can read, and I just pray that we get a little bit of food from this today. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. So verse 2 I have on a note card. I've had it for years. It's all crinkled and turning brown. I put Post-it notes all over the place. People ask me all the time, what is that? And this verse 2, I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. Touches me every time I read it, because are you guys anything like me and you're going through the motions and checking off the boxes, but do you ever be like, oh, why can't you just see that and he's done? Like my husband, I love him, but he's never going to come in and say, man, I need to do a load of white clothes today. He's just never going to do that, right? He's a man. But sometimes I'll stare at those clothes and be like, he walks right past his dirty underpants laying on the bathroom floor. Why can't you pick them up? I get to do that. The Lord allowed me to do that. So I find myself going through the motions a lot and just doing what I know needs done, but inside I'm grumbly. And the Lord spoke to me about being agreeable. And in that verse, it talks about our perfect heart. And I feel like it can spill out so much more in church, or like if you guys work, we go through the motions, right? We have a good image. We're going to church. We're making lunches. We're wiping butts, right? We're doing the things. And on the outside, everything looks great. But on the inside, sometimes our heart is not perfect. And that verse speaks to me so much because I'm like that. I'm busy. I'm doing all the things. And inside, my heart is not always perfect. We're women. We have hormones. We get frustrated. And sometimes all that comes out of our mouth, right? It does me, right? So when I started studying about being agreeable and the word perfect, there's some definitions to the word perfect that smacked me right in the face about being perfect. One of them in the 1828 is complete and moral excellency. And I thought, man, that's not me at my house. If you've been in my house, I'd be like, why didn't you do that? And he's like, what are you talking about? You know, and how we get to take care of our husbands and we get to take care of our kids. The Lord physically chose me to be his wife. He chose me to be her mom. I should never fuss, but we can't help it. Like, we're women. That's just in us, right? You know, that's human. And we're going through the motions and we're doing the things. And I think of Alexis a lot because she's so far away from everybody she knows. And Braden's upstairs working, you know, and she's wiping butts or cleaning up pee, you know, like all the potty training things of life. The motions of life sometimes get so blurry that we get foggy and ugly on the inside because we're just focusing on surviving, right? And then as we get older in different chapters, my daughter is now 13, so she's independent, but I'm still, you know, taking care of. We are the glue, right? The mom and the wife are the glue that keep everybody together. And complete and moral excellency, I thought, man, I'm not sure anybody would ever say that about me. But there's two different verses there's two different words for perfect. And I talked to Brother Braden about different Bible apps that like help you, whatever. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, different things like that. And one of them was leave nothing wanting. Perfect means to leave nothing wanting. So I was thinking, would my husband describe that about me? Would he say that I fulfill all of that or I fuss and complain? Like when he describes us. A while back, Tess and I did a Bible study during COVID, and we challenged each other to think of being videotaped while we were walking around our house, and then you can't hit rewind and redo what you did, and then somebody else watch you act that way. And would they say that we were leave nothing wanting, like we fulfilled everything and we never like got that pride? Because when I studied this perfect word, there were some other commentaries that Brother Braden had sent me that you can also get into the point of thinking that you're perfect, and that's when the pride comes in. You know, your heart, the perfect pride. And the Lord gave me two verses, and I'm going to try to tie this together. Again, I've never done anything like this before, so bear with me, okay? But Psalm 90 says, let the beauty of the Lord our God be upon us. So if we need a perfect heart, pride can't live in a perfect pride and beauty can't live together. The beauty of the Lord won't live in you if we have that pride. So I was trying to tie all this together to think of how I could speak about it. And there's so many different, do you guys ever like search for stuff in the Bible and you read commentaries and then you're like even more confused? Like sometimes you just search and like, I don't even know where I got started. But the more I read, the more little definitions about being perfect, completeness, integrity, fullness, innocence. I'm definitely not innocent when I fuss about my husband coming in the house with the grass all the way through the house. And I'm like, really? You couldn't take your shoes off? You know, little things like that. And I want to Right. And my husband's wonderful. He does laundry and dishes all the time. I should never, ever complain. But I'm going to use him as an example because he's my husband. I left a penny we have two bathrooms. His little bathroom that he uses the most, I left a penny beside the toilet. 17 days, it laid there, and nobody picked it up. So I didn't say a word. It's just a little tiny penny. And I think of stuff like that, but I get to take care of him. And any situation can be flipped. He could be gone. I wouldn't have anybody to dirty laundry to pick up, and I would be sad. But if I always think about this, would I ever speak to my pastor the way I spoke to my husband? Absolutely not. Right? Like, that's a lot of pressure. That doesn't include you two back there. But
If he did like my husband does, I probably would.
right? But we do.
Don't tell her, Sandy.
We're the hardest on the people that live in our roof, aren't we?
Right.
Like the lady at the gas station, she needs your face. She needs you to smile at her. She needs you to be nice to her. But the people under your roof, they need that too. They need our perfect heart. We are shaping the lives of our children. The way we treat our husbands is the way our children will treat their husbands. And when you think about how I talk to my husband sometimes when he makes me mad, I'm cringe thinking about my daughter doing that in 20 years or 30 years or however long it is before she gets married. You know, like, we are shaping the people under our roof. Our testimony even shapes our husband, no matter how old they are. The attitude that we have with them is the attitude they might have with other people, and that kindness toward your husband is contagious, and your children. And my heart is not perfect. I'm busy. My business is busy. The Lord has totally changed our life. But I have to stop and think about, am I walking in my house in a perfect heart? And it convicts me every time. And another one that is in the 1828 is not defective. Like, oh, that one really hit me. Like, am I speaking, like, do I work good? Am I broken? You know, like a broken toy that you just get thrown to the side. We all, I feel like we all have so many times when we're just sick or tired or we've worked and we don't feel like doing it, and we go get gas or we go to the fast food and we're so nice to the lady at the fast food place. And then we come home and, like, the first thing I say is, geez, why didn't you do that? You know, they get the last of us, and they should get the best of us. People under our roof should get the best of us because our hearts should be not defective. Like, if I put that in there, I will walk within my house with not defective heart. You know, where that pride of, the feeling of pride or that. See, I'm telling you, sometimes it's right there and I just can't get it out of my mouth. That area of pride where when we come home or when our husbands don't do what we think they should do, are our hearts perfect? We can't pour from an empty cup, but we are literally what's keeping it all together, right? I mean, my husband would lose his mind. He loses everything constantly. That's a running thing in our house. And I'll be like, it's over there, or did you look here? And he's, yep, found it, thanks. Like, I don't know how he survived before he met me. And Tessa will attest to that. Before we got the Apple AirTags, every day it was the keys or his wallet. Now both of them have an Apple AirTag, and he just hits a thing on his phone and finds it. Oh, you need to get him. Best investment we ever did was the Apple AirTags. But the word agreeable also goes along with being perfect. And at the women's meeting, she spoke on being agreeable, and I had already started this. And I'm not very agreeable at times. But if I was wanting my heart to be better, I would agree with my husband, even if it wasn't what I wanted, and then there wouldn't be the conflict. There wouldn't be the pride. And the sentence that keeps coming back to me is, beauty and pride cannot live in the same house. If the Lord, I want the Lord to think I'm beautiful. That sentence to me just about brings me to my knees. But my pride cannot live next to that beauty. And we, as women, are prideful in our marriages, prideful in the way that we think things should be, because we're a woman. And I just think my husband should know that I'm in a bad mood and I want a candy bar and he should bring it home to me. I mean, you should have known that on the phone when you called me, right? And then he doesn't bring it home and I'm like, man, why didn't he do that for me? So that beauty, that verse, Psalm 90:17, the beauty of the Lord our God is upon us. I want his beauty. But if my heart is not perfect, I won't ever get that. He will not give that to me like that. I just want him to call me that. When I get to heaven one day, I want him to say that. And he, all these thoughts in my head, and then I won't, it never comes out of my mouth. I say that every time I stand up on Testify on Sunday. I'm like, I have all this stuff, and it never comes out the way I study it, but that's okay because the Lord spoke to me. But under our roof is the most influence. And I meet so many people that talk about all the strangers that they met, and I gave a track, and I was smiling, and I was so nice to her. But if I could take your husband or your daughter or your son in a room privately, and they would never speak to me again, what would they say about you? You know, what would they say about me? Somebody said that one day, like, if I asked your husband what he really thought of you, and you would never find out, what would he say about you? Well, the first thing he would say is, I'm loud. And then he'd say, well, I probably yell a lot because it's, you know, yelling is traditional. We talk about that all the time. That traditional sin of how our mom and our grandparents act, that's how we treat our husband. Have you guys ever noticed that? My grandma was a yeller. My mom is a yeller. And the Lord spoke to me on a Thursday morning and said, I did not make you to yell. And I'll never forget the way he spoke to me about it. And I've seen it. I've seen it in my daughter. And I said, we're going to break those chains. But we treat, traditionally, if you notice, the people in our life that were before us, if you look back in that, we treat the people around us like we've been treated all our lives. Is that the perfect heart? Are we walking with a perfect heart? Are we breaking the chains? Are we treating our husband like our mom treated our dad? And it might be great, but it might be bad. My parents yelled at each other a lot. They loved each other great. They didn't fight and fuss. They just were loud and yelling. My mom's a yeller, isn't she, Tessa? I love you, Mom. But I don't want to see my daughter, how are we, 13? So maybe 15 years, maybe. How old are you being 15 years? I don't want to see her complaining about the laundry not being picked up when there's a house full of people and the little tiny things that we get to do. So you can always flip it. I had a really good friend, husband was in the coal mines, and he left one morning and he came home in a wheelchair like a year later. And he's a quadriplegic, and he was the strongest person in their family and took care of everybody. And I saw her speak at a women's conference, and she had his dirty clothes in a Walmart bag that were on the floor the day he wrecked, never washed. And she said, I used to fuss because his farm boots and his work clothes laid everywhere. She said, I would give anything to pick his dirty laundry up off the floor again, because now he's in a wheelchair. She takes care of him, feeds him, and cleans him. So I want you to think about that when you're tired or you're fussing. Is our heart perfect? Being proud and being beautiful can't live together. And I wrote some I get to things down because these are the things that bother me when I'm fussing about my husband. I get to wake up beside you. I get to kiss you good morning. I get to smell your morning breath. I get to make your breakfast. I get to pack your lunch. I get to do your dirty laundry. I get to clean the house. I get to refill the toilet paper. Isn't it magical how they sit down, get up, and then when they come back, it's full again? It's magic, right? But we get to do that. We get to do that, right? I get to take care of the kids. I get to make dinner. I get to hug you when you come home. I get to clean up the kitchen. I get to sleep beside you when you snore. No. I get to be with you. I'm not alone because I was made to serve you. We were made to serve them. So I always think, am I a stumbling block for my husband or am I a stepping stone for him? I get to be with him. We get to do that. The Lord chose us to be their wife. And perfect hearts. I love that verse. Write it down when you get home. Perfect heart. Is my heart perfect? Because we can go through the motions every day. We can look great. We can dress the good part, right? But inside of us is what the Lord knows. He's the one that knows what we're thinking. You know, that sigh. Everybody knows when mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. I used to hate that saying, but it's the truth. And that's just what the Lord gave me to give you. I get to. Perfect heart. Like I want that perfect heart. I want him to feel that way about me. I want him to think of me the same way he used to think about me before we got married. You know, because my mom used to say, well, the shine's off the apple now. That's what she used to say. You know, we haven't been married very long, but I want him to still feel that way year after year after year. And ideally, we are made to serve our husbands. We're just made to take care of them because they have a different role, and the Lord made us so different. So I love the beauty and pride can't live in the same house. My pride cannot live underneath the same roof as my beauty. Did I say that right? Okay. And that's all I got. I'm not speaking all day. I know it's a beautiful day. outside. The Lord made the rain, so we might as well not fuss about it because it's from Christ, so it's beautiful, right? Even if it's cold and ugly. But think about that when you're bending over, picking up the laundry, or you just, whatever it is we do, all the things, right? Get the groceries, do the checkbook, all the things we do as a women. We are the glue, but we get to do that. It's a gift. Getting to take care of them is a gift from the Lord. That's all. That's all I have.
Please don't tell my husband.
Thank you. Very good.
Oh, you're welcome. Short and sweet. Alexis told me to not talk all day. It's her.